Hey everybody, it's On Screen Off Screen with Josh Conlon and myself, where we talk about stuff that we watch throughout the week and how media affects our lives and how our lives affect the media that we watch. Um, I'm kind of excited about this one because the shared topic. I know Conlon's gonna hate on it. He warned me beforehand. um, but we'll start with his topic, and hopefully his topic he won't hate on.
I am so upset that I forgot that we were doing it today because I had such a good thing for our shared topic. It was going to be great. Anyway, I'm not doing it, but I'll tell you what it is when we get to it.
But what's your topic today?
Oh, sorry, I completely missed that. Misery. Have you guys either of you heard of this?
Uh-uh.
Okay, it's a Stephen King book that they turned into a movie, and it's supposed to be one of his best movies. I think it's fantastic. It's about an author and a super fan kidnaps him and forces. Basically, the author writes a ending to one of her favorite characters that he absolutely hates, or that she absolutely hates. So she kidnaps him and forces him to write a different ending to this book. Um, and she's like obsessed with this character, loves everything about it, and cannot believe that it could be the end of this character's journey. And at first, it seems like really, really nice, really sweet. You have this. He gets into a car crash, and this lady saves him, brings him back to the home, nurses him back to health. But then she straps him to a chair, and it was like he wrote what his nightmare would be. Well, what his terrible, terrible nightmare would be. And then we get to watch it in the movie, and it's really well done. Really well done. Cinematography is fantastic. Um, it's very haunting. Like you could see the crazed fandom and have that. Like if you became famous, you could see yourself having to go through something like this, and that is absolutely horrifying. Um, it's I do think it's one of his best adaptations to a movie. It is one that I would recommend. If you like Stephen King stuff, it is worth watching. I'm trying to pull up what the main girl's name is. I think it's Kathy Bates is the actress, and she is ridiculously good. You believe that she is a crazy, psycho super fan to the extreme. She's her mannerisms, the way that she freaks out at certain times, is just fantastic. High recommend. I would probably give it an 8.5.
So did you say Kathy Bates?
I think that's her name. I'm trying to look it up, but literally my internet is being so slow.
Is
That
she
is an
like the
actress name.
author?
What?
Is she like the author
So
in
she's
this?
the one that kidnaps the
The
author.
fan.
Yeah, the man, and the man is just a Stephen King placeholder. That is what it is. They even go to the
Yes, her
same
name is Kathy
places that
Bates.
Stephen King goes. Okay, yeah, it's Kathy Bates, and I think I'm pretty sure she won an Oscar for this, and I have to look up the fact again. I wish it wasn't being so slow. But I think only 3 villains have ever won Oscars, and I believe that she was one of them. And then you have Heath Ledger's Joker, and I believe one more. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me, but I believe that that's the case. And if she did, she absolutely deserves all of the accolades.
Yeah, I love Kathy Bates. Um,
She's insane in this movie.
she's really good. Um, let's see. It seems like there's Anthony Hopkins for Hannibal.
Okay.
Um, Louis Fletcher as Nurse Ratchet in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Heath Ledger. Uh, I'm gonna butcher her name because I always do. Charlie Theron.
Charlize Theron.
There we go. Theron. Um, J.K. Simmons and Kathy Bates. Oh, it has a couple more.
Okay.
Kevin
There's like
Spacey.
10 villains who have won.
Yeah,
If she
Christoph
did win an Oscar
Waltz.
for this, I, I think she
Yeah.
deserves it.
Yeah.
She it's just completely believable as a character, and the horrifying aspect of it is like a good horror game where you are just so weak that you can't compete with the villain. His body has been broken. He's in this crash, and his entire body is just like wrapped up in bandages. He can barely move. But you have this girl who's supposed to be the caregiver, and he can't get away from her. And throughout the movie, he's trying to. He's trying to come up with ways to signal somebody to get some kind of help. People are looking for him. The missing author, the missing famous author who's gone. Um, but nobody can get a hold of him. Nobody knows where he went. They see that his car disappeared. She comes up with stories to try to point the police away so she can keep this author to herself. It is a horror movie that I would recommend to people who aren't like a fan of super intense stuff, but are still like the thrill aspect of it. Like it's a horror movie that I think a lot of people who aren't traditional horror fans could enjoy.
I was just like looking up just photos of Kathy Bates in Misery, and like she does, like she's an actress that like she has very much a huge range because a lot of the movies I've seen her in, like she's usually like the mother hen of the movie and like gathers everybody to her, and so it's kind of like unsettling to see some of these freeze frames of her being actually scary.
But the thing is, she's still that same character, but it's twisted, which is one of the cool things about it. She is the mother hen, like she's taking care of this author, but it's just twisted. So it works for her so well.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's so good.
I mean, that's like what's crazy too is because like there are people like that where they do have like this um, attractiveness and like a warmth, but then they have like another side that's freaky. And so yeah, that's she was very well. She was a very good actress. So
She's a
and you
very good
watched
actress.
the movie, right?
Yeah, I watched the movie and I read the book,
Oh, okay, that's gonna be
and
my
I
next
actually
question.
like the movie a little bit better. I think
I
it's one where the movie is a little bit better.
I feel like with Stephen King, a lot of times that's the case. Not all the time,
It's fair.
but yeah.
Yeah, because it
That's
is
probably
much
the
better.
case because Stephen King struggles so much with endings, and Hollywood can take it and be like, okay, but this is what an actual ending should feel like.
Let me take it from here, Stephen.
You just write the beginning part and the middle part, and then we'll
We'll
take
just
over.
finish the ending for you.
Yeah.
That's fair. Like, yeah, it's just really good. You both, when you're in the mood for something like this, should try it. I think Lauren, it's one that you could actually watch. Or
it's
if you're in a mood for something like this.
It's funny because like I remember my mom telling me a story about, except I think she thought it was real, and so I thought that this was real. And when you started talking about this, I like Googled, I was like, is this based on a true story? Because I remember my mom like telling me that there was like, yeah, there was this girl that didn't like the ending to this author's book, so she like kidnapped him and like tortured him until he wrote the good ending that she wanted. And so I was like, and so I like looked it up and I'm like, no, that's just a book based on Stephen King's brain, not a real story. So I actually thought that was a real story for the longest time.
That's
Based
wild.
on how
That's
you
crazy.
described it, would you compare the type of thriller it is to like Johnny Depp's Secret Window?
Yes.
Okay. Have you seen that,
Yes.
Lauren?
I started it and then I fell asleep and I never felt the urge to watch it again.
Okay. Don't watch that one. Uh, you wouldn't like it, but maybe this one you would.
It's a good thriller. Like if you get Ellie or something to watch a scary movie sometime, if you guys do that, it's one that I think you would actually have a good time with versus just being grossed out by gore or horrified by psychological elements or horrified by spiritual elements. Like, it's just a good thriller. And like I love the believability of it. There's nothing about this one that feels like it couldn't happen. Like, I don't blame your mom thinking this happened, because that is such a believable story. Some crazy fan kidnaps a famous person and makes them change whatever their art is that they don't like. Like, that is very, very feasible. I could see that being on the news.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I should have double checked this, but I think Stephen King goes to a cabin when he's finishing a book. I think that that's true. And so it would be a very similar story. Like, he's going to this cabin to finish the book inside of Misery. And that's where he gets in the car crash and gets kidnapped. But I'm not sure on that either.
Gotta love a author insert.
Yeah. It's just like, I mean, it's one of the stories where I'm like, good job. You just wrote what would be horrifying. That's really good. That's fantastic.
Good job. I wasn't worried about this, and now I am.
Yeah, I mean, like, Pet Sematary is my favorite Stephen King book, and he just thinks about what it would be like to lose a kid, and then he wrote that book. And I think a lot of his best stories are like, this would be horrifying for me. So if it's horrifying for me, it's probably horrifying for somebody else. Let me write a book about it.
I feel like, no, correct me, I think I've heard that, like, Stephen King did a lot of crack, and that's how he got a lot of books out. Is that
That's
true?
true.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
I wonder
absolutely.
if he has maladaptive daydreaming, and then crack just made him put it on paper.
Maybe. Totally.
Because
I don't know. But yeah, his best books were when he was writing, he was on some good stuff.
he just has a printer from his brain when he's on crack. He's like, here's a story.
It's just like, yeah, that's the best. And then the crack wears off, and it gets to the end of the book. He's like, "What was I writing?
Well, like,
Let's finish it."
what's funny to me is, like, Stephen King, I feel like, he has a lot of horror, but he also has other things that isn't necessarily horror. And they're all very different, I think. And then there's, like, people like Louis L'Amour that it's like, it's the same thing, just change the name, the place, and it's the same exact
The
book.
same book over and over again. Yeah, Stephen King is an amazing author.
Yeah.
An amazing author that has some major weaknesses, but he's so good at so many other things that you kind of ignore the weaknesses.
Can you name an exceptional author who doesn't have some big weaknesses? Because, like, if you go Brandon Sanderson, right? He gets he does the best world building in the modern age, for sure. But that has
But
a
he gets
big
bogged down
downside. He does the best world building, and we get bogged down where we get, like, the second Mistborn book where 3/4 of it or 4/5 of it, literally nothing happens because he's just
I
building.
think Brandon Sanderson's big problem is actually he just gets bogged down in trauma. Because, like, the second Mistborn book, it is Vin whining about shit for, like, a third of the book. And that's why it feels so long. And my problem with the fifth Stormlight book largely was, one, he didn't use language that was from any of the rest of the books, which he has a problem with keeping his language consistent. But two, he was talking about trauma for 1,000 pages of that book. Like, it's so much. And you can deal with personal, like, that's an important part of character development. But when it gets so much, it just becomes heavy and it's not enjoyable anymore.
Okay. But so I go back to my original question. Can you think of any author that doesn't have a big downside?
Brandon Chambers. Just kidding.
You're right. You got it. Lauren figured it out. That's the only one. Actually, he does have a big problem. He doesn't have enough published.
That's true.
And he won't
That's
get me
true.
my pages fast enough.
Brandon Chambers, our friend,
Yeah.
who is Hopefully, gonna be published soon.
I hope so. Fingers quadruple, triple, duple crossed. Um, no, I can't really think of any that don't have some kind of problem. The one that I would say is closest is probably Joe Abercrombie, but
Okay. I don't
he's
know who
still
that
not
is.
perfect. He does the first Law books, um, and they're fantastic. But he has, if you look at his series as a whole, it's not really a problem, but it is a problem in his first book. Because the first book of both of his series, you're kind of like, what the freak am I reading? Like, what is the point of this? This character's doing random crap. Why am I reading this? But it comes together and you understand why it all happened. But he's a very good author. Very, very good author.
My best nomination for without big flaw, I would say Shakespeare.
J.K.
But
Rowling.
he's not really a novelist. So I don't know if you could even count him anyway.
I mean, there's some Shakespeare plays that aren't really great.
I would say that's all a opinion thing. It's all perspective. There's nothing I can point at with Shakespeare and be like, this is a constant problem for him, and it's a big problem.
That's true.
There are some little things, right? Like Romeo and
That's
Juliet really isn't the first of its kind and is way blown out of proportion. Not really his fault, but still. Uh, but anyway,
Alright.
just an interesting thought. I like my main
That's
point
interesting
is I think all authors have some problem because they either get stuck in their ways and they can't write anything new and they end up rewriting the same thing, or their name is Brandon Mole and they describe the same thing over and over again. Yes, we know Seth has this ability and Kendra has that ability, and we don't need to hear it every 10 freaking seconds. And, you know, like all of them have their kind of quirky things that causes problems. None of them are perfect.
That's true. My point with that was like Stephen King has like not this is kind of annoying. Like the endings of your books suck and most of your fans know it. But we still like your books for some reason. I can't
Because
think of
the
another
beginning and middle
author
is
that
so
really does
good.
that. But it's so
Yeah.
good. So
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Well,
Very cool.
Well, speaking of Ellen DeGeneres as a fish, let's go to your topic, Josh.
Way to give it away.
that was a good transition. Way to go.
Flawless
Fantastic.
segue.
Yeah. So I watched Finding Nemo, and I watched it because I was scrolling through TikTok, and the Escape Pod podcast was ranking their top 10 Disney Pixar projects, and the one guy put Monsters Inc. on it, and he said he was comparing Monsters Inc. and Toy Story and Finding Nemo, and the thing that made Monsters Inc. so much better was because it was so much funnier. Okay. And the other guy turned around and was like, I think Monsters Inc. is the least funny of the three projects that you just named.
Interesting.
And I was like, that's crazy. Like, yeah, Toy Story has some funny, but Finding Nemo is not funnier than Monsters Inc. Like, there's no way. That's where my gut was going. I haven't seen this movie in a really long time. But, like, I don't remember Finding Nemo being all that funny. And boy, oh boy, was I dead wrong. Finding Nemo is hilarious.
It's very
all
funny.
the way through. Yeah. I'm obnoxious. I'm H2O intolerant. He touched the butt. Like, so many quotable things came out of that movie. And I have been depriving myself by not watching it in such a long time. The way they animated the water, I know I've brought it up in the past that they did such a great job with the water animation, and I stand by that. I think it is the best water animation I have ever seen. Uh, it They did such a good job with the animation of the water and the fish and the wildlife and the colors. It is all great. Um, it's all a very wholesome story. Um, we have great villains. We have Bruce the shark, who with fish are friends, not food, and it's a riot all the way through. This is one that I very much underappreciated. I've always known I liked it, but I rewatched it this last week and a half ish, and I love this movie. It is so good. I need to watch it more often just because of how good this movie really is.
I This is one that I didn't like when I was a kid, but I actually like more and more as I get older. I mean, I don't even know exactly why, but when it first came out and everyone was obsessed, I was like, why do you guys like this stupid fish movie with that stupid freaking turtle that won't shut up? I thought everybody was an idiot. I didn't like this movie. But I don't know. I like it more and more every single time I watch it. I think it's very funny. Just Keep Swimming is iconic, and it's great. It's just good.
42 Wallaby Way, Sydney or whatever.
P.
Stuck in
Sherman,
every,
42,
P.
Wallaby
Sherman.
Way, Sydney.
Stuck in
That is
everybody's
one I
head.
could have quoted my entire like before I rewatched it. I could have quoted that. But like, yeah, I totally
Why,
forgot
why,
about
why?
the other kid fishes. I totally forgot about the uh, school of fish that mock Marlin for being a downer, and they're like, "Hey, buddy, lighten up!" And they turn his face into a smile, and like so many details in this movie I missed, and like I think it's one of the best messages we get. It's so easy to grasp for everyone. I think everybody can identify with a kid not wanting to or wanting some independence from their parents. And as we get older, we see a lot more of that dad side of wanting to protect and all that kind of stuff, especially after something so traumatic, right? I don't know why Pixar has this thing with wanting to like break your hearts 15 minutes into any of their movies, um, but they do, and yet we get this wholesome, positive, good time with lots of laughs along the way. I think it's one of their best projects.
I think
There's
so too.
there's
What were you
some
going to say, Lauren?
there's something else about like Pixar where you see the ending that they want to that like you're like, oh, this is the ending that the people like the character wants to have, and they never get the ending that they want to have, but they have the ending that they need, and that's what I really like about
That's really
Pixar.
cool.
They
um
also do a really great job of, like, I think all of them are predictable, but they still give you the sense of like, well, maybe not. I feel this wanting for the end that I don't necessarily get in other projects. Like, I know that in the perfect ending, Nemo's gonna get back with his dad, all the fish are gonna escape into the ocean, whatever, right? But still, you feel that in your stomach and in your mind, and you're just like, I want it so bad. I already seen this movie, and I know, but I still want the reuniting. I still want the rest of the tank fish to get out. I still want, and Pixar does a great job with that.
yeah.
Something I like about this movie is they have the disability, like Nemo's got the little fin, but they don't overstay talking about it. A lot of movies, when they have a disability, it's like they're trying to make a point or they have to like overemphasize that there's a disability there. They're like, this is part of the character, it's part of the progression, move on. Which is so much more fulfilling in the story and makes the point of you can overcome your challenges more effectively than I think that they do in a lot of movies.
Well, and this one particularly, it's a disability not as realized, right? Like it's
Yeah,
pointed out to him more than it actually affects him, right?
yeah,
People treat him differently from his ability, but he doesn't feel like he has a disability and he still does just fine with all of his tests. He still swims just fine. He's still able to, use the pebble. He still does all the things, but people are still like, oh, he has a small fit. So it's more about how people treat him from that disability than him being bogged down by it.
Yeah, because you have that one scene where it gets in his head. He's like, I can't because I have this fin. And then you have the other
Yeah.
fish like flip around. He's like, yeah, well, look at this. He's like, you can do it. I believe in you. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can do this. So, yeah, I like that you pointed that out. I don't think I've ever really realized that with that movie, but
Yeah.
I like it.
It's really good. It's a good one.
Good
Good
movie.
time.
Rating time.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5. Just because it's really, really good. I do love it, but it's not something I'm going to be constantly rewatching. But I'll turn it on every once in a
Yeah,
while. I think.
that's fair. I think it should get a -5 for just traumatizing kids towards dentists. Like, how many kids don't
Oh
like the
yeah,
dentist
because
just because of
kids
this
didn't
movie?
like dentists before this movie.
Oh,
But
dude, if you had a possibility of not liking a dentist, then you watch this movie, you're like, nope, that's done. Game
what?
over.
It's
Don't
so.
like dentists.
I hate the dentist so much, and I
We
literally
have a
would not
traumatized
watch.
child on the podcast.
Oh no, it's traumatized.
I think
um,
dentists do enough traumatizing of their own that this movie didn't
but I would
change it.
not watch this movie because of the dentist sometimes because I'm like, oh, I have to go to the dentist. I don't want to. But speaking of childhood movies, my topic is also a childhood movie,
And a great
and
one.
and it's also
And it has to do
traumatizing.
with dinosaurs. I gave it away.
That gives a lot of options. She could be reviewing Dinotopia again.
Or dinosaurs.
Or Dinosaur.
Okay, this one made every child cry. Now
Yeah.
there's no doubt.
Now speaking of
This one is about a
traumatizing
time,
childhood story,
and there was a land, and it was before that time.
tree stars are also involved. In case you guys haven't guessed it, it was Land Before Time, and it was really funny because it said it was only an hour long, but man, they packed a lot into that hour. Um, I also use this for a lot of animation um, references because I did not like watching the whole thing in one go instead of just trying to find the scenes that I knew would pop into my mind. Where I was like, oh, I need this thing for a reference of an animation. I was like, oh, Land Before Time had that. I I watched it all throughout, and it's really good animation. Like it's very flowy and very satisfying, and like Spike makes grass look so good. Like when he's chopping that down, oh my gosh, that's all I wanted was grass. And then, um, yeah, it is a very sad story, but also like I started realizing, I feel like '90s kids had a lot of sad stories, storylines, and like um in this, whoever hasn't watched Land Before Time, go watch it and go get traumatized. It's great. It's a great time. But it follows uh Littlefoot, which is like a little Bronchiosaurus, long neck is what they call them. Sarah, she's a Triceratops, but they call them three horns. Spike, they call him a spike tail. I'm not quite sure what he is though. There's like
Is it Heath the pterodactyl?
no, that's Petrie,
Oh,
and he's a pterodactyl. They just call him a flyer. And then Ducky, who they call a big mouth, and I can't remember what her species is actually called. But anyway, they're all migrating towards the Great Valley, which has like endless greens. But an earthquake happens and they get separated. The little ones get separated from the herds, and a T Rex, which they call a sharp tooth, comes and like kills Littlefoot's mom, uh, and then also is one of the catalysts of separating the little ones from the rest of the herd. And so Littlefoot's like told to try to make it to the Great Valley on his own. And his mom, like, as she's dying, she's like, "Do you remember how to get there?" And he's like, "Well, why did I need to know? You're gonna be there with me." And she's like, "No, I need you to tell me you know how to get to the Great Valley." And it's so heartbreaking. And the music is just like, yeah, it's just plucking at your heartstrings. And then also, I noticed that it was Lucasfilms and Spielberg. And so are they Star Wars? Is my question.
No, they're not Star Wars.
It could be on a planet. It doesn't have to be Earth. It's a land before time, a long, long time ago in a galaxy far away.
Still not Star Wars, but good effort.
Anyway,
Good effort.
I just thought it was really funny when I saw that roll up on the screen. Anyway, so back to Littlefoot and the gang. Sarah the Triceratops is very stubborn, and she keeps saying like she can't play with long necks, and she's very like, I have to be with my own group, and the others are just like trying to survive and find food as they're trying to get to the Great Valley. But they kind of have this drift in the group where Sarah's like, no, I know what's right, and Littlefoot's like, I know this is like a tough way to go, but this is the way we need to go. And Sarah's like, no, I'm gonna take the easy way, this is dumb. And then it just like, it dealt with so many things throughout this whole journey where like the others went with Sarah because it was the easier way, and then they find out that they get lost and they had to deal with being wrong and then having to like apologize and make up for like doing something, realizing that they made a mistake. And then at the end when they finally like make it to the Great Valley, it always makes me freaking cry when, because like Littlefoot's kind of like done and over it, but then he sees like, because they think they've made it to the Great Valley, but it's just dirt again. And then this cloud that's like shaped like his mom, he like starts chasing it, and then it like leads him to the actual Great Valley, and it's just like, oh, anyway, a lot of big feelings. It's great. I also had all of the Land Before Time movies. There was like, I think there's 13. There's a lot. And I had most of them growing up, and I loved them.
I only had the first 3.
They're awesome. Like, there's one that I'll always remember because they like talk about like the deep water. The song is like deep, 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 deep water. Anyway, me and my siblings will sing that to each other randomly throughout, like even now. Just pops up. But yeah, I watched that this week. Cried. It was great. I would give it an 8 out of 10. Uh, I hate that I got into animation because now I can see all the animation tricks that they do, and I got a little bit sidetracked while watching this movie, being like, oh, I could see that, where that was put in the background and where you brought that forward to be something that you can obviously see was going to move. Anyway, but other than that, I think it was
I
pretty
feel
good.
the same way about going to a music college.
Yeah.
No, I
Like,
see.
No,
all
you
the
don't
things.
like music.
So tricks of music don't work on you as much anymore? Is that what you're saying?
Not in horror movies, but it is also like I notice the trends. So like it's called the death notes, and there's like this sequence of 4 notes, and it happens in every movie with every character that's going to die. And if you invert it, it actually is part of Darth Vader's theme. Like, so I notice stuff like that now. Yeah. Whereas
Cool.
when I was just ignorant, I was just like, oh, good music. Now I'm like, oh, I noticed that. Oh, I noticed that. Okay, there's that motif. Okay, there's that theme. Okay, we're hearing this, so this is going to happen. Like, there's so much storytelling that they tell you ahead of time if you start to notice the music.
Yeah, I loved this movie as a kid. Absolutely loved it. And I can't remember anything about it other than Littlefoot was a character. If before you just talked about it, I literally could have told you that. That's it.
I
So I should-
remembered the basic plot.
rewatch it. I
Not
don't
much
remember
more.
the plot. I remember nothing. And I watched this movie a lot when I was a little kid. I don't remember anything.
Sounds like you need to rewatch it, Conlon.
You should
Yeah,
watch it.
I agree.
There was like, it's funny because
Apparently
like
it's not right.
as I watched it, I started to remember the plot of it. But yeah, I was like, I remember he gets separated and they have to make it back, and there's a sharp tooth that keeps coming back. Like I think there's two times they think they kill him, but he keeps coming back. And that's what's so funny to me is I'm like, whenever there's like a really big monster, and like comparatively you have like this really huge monster and then these tiny little things, and he keeps chasing after the tiny little things. I'm like, that's like you trying like chasing after one little rice for a meal. Like it's not worth it. Stop running the whole country for this piece of rice. You could go get a steak over there.
I mean, it matters the size, because, like, I would chase after a burger.
Yeah, but not a piece of rice.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Sure, I would chase
not a
after
piece of burger, right? Like if there was a burger right here and like a Thor's hammer something over here, you'd go towards that, right? There was plenty of other
towards the
food.
burger.
Okay,
It's a burger.
it's a bigger burger over here then.
There's like, if there was like a turkey over here, like some nice sliced turkey, and there was a burger, I would chase after the burger.
Okay, so if there were mini sliders over here and then regular sized burgers over here, which one would you go for?
The burgers.
Okay,
What's on the sliders? Okay.
it's a burger.
We gotta be honest here.
They're mini burgers as sliders, and then there's burgers over here. You would go for the bigger burger. It's the same thing with like the Megalodon movies where they're like, there's this tiny little human and it's gonna chase it all over the ocean just for that tiny little. And I'm like, no, there's.
So much fish.
I'm like, that's so much energy expended for a piece of rice. It doesn't make sense. So like movies that try to do horror things based off of something that's that big, it doesn't like spook me at all, because I'm like, why would it waste its energy over something that small? Anyway, that's my
That's
two
fair.
pieces.
That's fair. Yeah, you want like a right size creature, like a normal crocodile eating somebody, or a shark.
You want a slow dumb
mega shark.
something that you can eat. Not a genius piece of rice. Anyway, let's go to our shared topics. Our shared topics was Alvin and the Chipmunks meets Frankenstein and Alvin and the Chipmunks meets the Wolfman. I'm gonna have Conlon start first because I know he didn't like them, so we'll go from not liking them as much to who liked them more.
Okay, so I was going to get a helium balloon for our review, because I would have thought that was going to be funny, but I forgot that we were doing it today, which sucks, because that would have been great.
I'm so glad you forgot.
I was going to even sing a song and be like, but anyway, it was going to be great. It's fine. But really, truly, it's fine. It's not terrible. If I was a kid and I had watched these, I think I would have some nostalgia for it, and I would probably like it a lot more. When I was watching it, I was just kind of like bored the entire time. I was like, who's the nerdy one? The nerdy
Simon.
babyish one? Simon. Simon, to me, was like, if I was a kid, maybe you wouldn't drive me nuts, but I just kind of want to punch you and go along with the other two chipmunks that are cooler than you, because you are lame, they keep whining, and I just want to, like, shove a pacifier in your mouth and get you to shut up.
Or are you thinking of Theodore, the smallest one?
Yes, Theodore.
Oh, okay.
Theodore's annoying. This did have me thinking about something interesting, though. We have these live-action Disney remakes, right? That a lot of kids are watching, and they're the first representation of these Disney movies. Will they like these better than the original animated classics? Because I like the live-action Alvin and the Chipmunks better than both of these movies. By quite a bit. But that was my first real connection with Alvin and the Chipmunks at all. I don't think I'd watched anything animated before that. I have watched a few others after, including these now. And all of the animated stuff, I'm like, it's fine. This is also fine. It's not terrible. If you like it, good for you. Um, but I don't love it. And I would rather watch the live action movie over all of them easily, without a doubt. Um, I think I liked Wolfman a little bit better, but they were both just kind of fine. So I'm not really hating on it as much as Lauren probably thought I was going to hate on it. Because if you're a kid, sure, watch these. Why not? They're better than a lot of other kids' stuff. They're just fine. I didn't really get a lot of good messaging from it. It's just it's just fine. For me, they're both like, would I rather watch Black Panther or this? It would depend on the day. To be completely honest, this could be a 4.5 or this could be a 5.5. There are some days where I'd be like, I would rather watch this. And there are some days where I'd be like, I would rather watch Black Panther. They're fine.
All right, Josh, what was your. Well, first off, have you seen these before I told you to watch them?
No.
Okay. So, what did you think of them?
I don't have a ton to say about these. Um, I would describe them as cute and fun. I agree with Conlon. There's not any like big important messages or really hard challenges to really learn from or anything like that. Um, but it was cute and fun. And because of these movies, I actually went back and rewatched the first live action from 2007. And I spent like 4 hours learning about Alvin and the Chipmunks. Like, I was like, so in the live action one, they start singing the song, hula hoop and playing that loops a loop. And I was like, surely the Alvin and the Chipmunks didn't invent that song. So where's that song from? The answer is the creator of Alvin and the Chipmunks wrote that song. And I was like, because of the Alvin and the Chipmunks, we have one of the most iconic Christmas songs now. Like, that song is huge. And I went through and I was like, this was the first animated picture that ever won one of the music awards. I forgot what they're called. Um, the creator of Alvin and the Chipmunks was the first one to use speeding up as his type of music. So it's not actually raising the pitch like a lot of us do, like sucking in helium when we want to sound like the Chipmunks. He actually played the music really slow and sang really slow and then sped it up.
Cool.
So it took an enormous amount of talent and it blew up. And then they decided, hey, we're going to start making these animated things. And they got really big and then kind of crashed. And then these movies came out, the Frankenstein and Wolfman, and they got big again, and then they crashed. And then when we were all young in 2007, they were like, let's do another one. And now they've created the third or fourth most successful animated and live action pictures of all time. Like the 2007 movie is more successful than Space Jam in terms of profit that they made around the world. So it's crazy. Like I said, I don't have a ton to say about the movies themselves. I think they're pretty good. I'd be happy to sit down and watch this with some little kids. I don't know that I will ever be just turning it on. Some of the music is good. I'm not bothered one bit by the chipmunk sound. I think the trio of them, with Simon being the smart one who's blind and uncoordinated, and Theodore being the little one who's always hungry, and Alvin being the one who's always just trying to be too cool, is like anybody who has male siblings can identify with one or all of them. So it's pretty easy to grasp. They're always fun, good, positive times. Like I would put this in the same bin that I would throw like Charlie Brown. It's like, yeah, this isn't really my thing, but it's cute and it's fun and it's positive. So yeah, any age can enjoy Charlie Brown. Any age can enjoy Alvin and the Chipmunks. It's not like it's not like Avatar: The Last Airbender, where everybody, no matter what your age, you're just like, this is so good. But it never irritates the older generation or the younger generation, and I think that says a lot. So I give it credit for that.
Yeah, this is a series that, like, specifically Frankenstein and Wolfman, is what I watched growing up. And, like, when I was younger, my mom would make it so, like, if we were going into the fall season, the only movies we could watch were Halloween themed. And then when we got into, like, the Thanksgiving, there's only, like, Thanksgiving movies we could watch. But then there weren't that many Thanksgiving movies, so Halloween
Just the
also
Charlie
bled
Brown one.
into it. Yeah. There was a Charlie Brown one. There's actually an Alvin and the
The
Chipmunks
witch's
one.
ghost.
And then like when Christmas rolls around, just Christmas movies. Um, and so like Alvin and the Chipmunks was one that Frankenstein and Wolfman, that like the whole family was like, okay, we can agree on that one. And then Casper's another one that we would watch, which we'll also talk about this week. And then Hocus Pocus was another one. So like whenever Halloween rolls around, I always watch Alvin and the Chipmunks, Frankenstein and Wolfman. Uh, and then I actually really enjoy the songs in Wolfman, especially because like I even when watching this time, the ending song after it played, I rewound it and like listened to it again and like sang along because it's just like so catchy. Um, yeah, I like. There's like something very satisfying about the animation of these as well, um, that like captures my attention when I'm watching them.
I was
Um,
gonna say I was blown away. I did not have high expectations from the animation, but the animation is very good,
yeah,
especially for the time and for the budget that was Alvin and the Chipmunks. Not the biggest thing, but I would argue it's on par or better than the same time frame Scooby Doo.
yeah,
I would say it's pretty close to Scooby Doo, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah, I really like the songs of these. I like the storyline. Um, yeah, and then like you said, I like how you have Simon being smart, Alvin being kind of like more like the jock trying to be cool, and then Theodore, who's just kind of a little bit skittish and likes food, is always hungry. Um, so you have something to go with there. But then I've always wondered, I'm like, they make Dave look so like good. Like he's always like he was jacked in Wolfman. And I'm like, why is he like what's up with Dave here?
We just found about Lauren's first crush, Dave
No,
from Alvin.
we know my first crush was from Quest for Camelot. So I've already established that as canon on the podcast. um, but yeah, I just remember like watching that and I was like, why does Dave just have three chipmunks? How did this come to be? And why does everybody accept? And why are these chipmunks going to school with these other kids, like these human children? Anyway, it just made me kind of pause this last time I watched it because, like, as a kid, I was like, yeah, of course the chipmunks are going to school with all the other humans.
Duh.
Duh, everyone knows that. Um, but yeah, I really like this.
Except there's also other animals too.
Where and when? Oh, the chipettes.
Yeah.
Only chipmunks, though. They only accept
Okay.
chipmunks.
I don't remember that. I didn't think about it in the movie. I was just like, yeah, they're going to school. They're with the other chipmunks and the other humans. It's
With the
totally
animated
normal.
stuff, I totally did that too. I
I
was like,
know.
cool.
It's so funny because you just accept it, and you're like, and then it was literally this last time I watched it, I was like, wait. I wonder how they, because I think in the live action they kind of like show how they came to be with Dave and all that, so you
Kind
get
of,
the
yeah.
origin story a little bit. But yeah, anyway, so I think that's all we have for this episode.
What do you
Um,
rate them?
oh, I would say that they're an 8. I really enjoy these, and like it's something that I would happily watch with like kids, and I would happily watch by myself because I do. um, but I think that might be more of a nostalgia. But I don't know. I just really like the animation, and I like the music, and the story is fine. It's very
That's
Yeah,
happy, wholesome.
fantastic.
So
I love that.
good.
yeah,
If I'd watched this when I was a kid, I would have a more. There would be nostalgia for this movie for sure, without a doubt. I
yeah.
just I shouldn't.
I just didn't.
I just didn't.
All
But I
right.
can see myself liking this. Like I like some of the Scooby Doo's that aren't quite as good, but I like them just because I watched them when I was a kid. It felt like that level
Mm.
of a show to me.
Yeah, and it's like it's really funny because I need to keep watching Scooby Doo because I know I really like Scooby Doo. I just haven't seen a lot of Scooby Doo. Um, but yeah. Anyway, so I think that will do it for our episode. Uh, everybody, hope you are watching all of your favorite fall videos, and if you haven't seen Alvin and the Chipmunks, Frankenstein, and Wolfstein, I say give it a shot. And have a good week. Bye.
Fine.